Hello everybody, it's Joey again, Maniac for Bricks More, where we get behind the scenes, bonus content, and just casual stuff. So, this is a follow-up on a previous video that I uploaded on this channel, because everything's kind of, carrying along in some different way. This is a video to follow up when I was talking about if I'm a collector or a hoarder. And in the conclusion of that video, I not only defined the terms to me, personally, but I also concluded that I am a bit of both. With all the hobbies that I have going on right now, all the things that I keep some interest with, I have a bit of both going on. I collect things that are meaningful to me, that work well as a group, and I am a hoarder because that thing invades my space and daily living. That's one of the key things to me, and I am still working through that. I know it looks messy here. I am still working through that everywhere. I made a walkway. I mentioned that in my last video. Some walking room. This video is kind of stemming off of that to see what kind of collector that I am. Am I a Johnny Thunder or a Baron von Barron? Now, for those who don't know exactly what I'm talking about, I'm referring to the LEGO Adventurers theme from the late 90s into the early 2000s. 1998, I think it started, somewhere around then, to about 2003 or 4. This was a theme in several different waves that had a very adventuring, exploring, treasure hunting aspect to it, more than your average Pirates theme. People have also labeled this as LEGO Indiana Jones before LEGO actually got the license to Indiana Jones, because it does have a lot of similarities to it. You have the main character, Johnny Thunder, which has been a big mascot, a big icon for LEGO in the years he was around, and then afterwards. Johnny Thunder was exploring the globe, finding different artifacts, and often bringing a team with him to investigate them, to record the journey for it, and technically he is still stealing the artifacts, but he is also bringing them to people for display purposes, for sharing the findings, learning more about history, like an archaeological kind of feel for it. To put a quote in here from Indiana Jones, it belongs in a museum. So, that kind of aspect. And then you have Baron von Barron, who is the antagonist of the theme, also known as Sam Sinister, or Lord Sam Sinister. We'll talk about that some other time. They'll all have the name confusion. This was the antagonist of the theme, where he was going around the world. He was collecting a lot of these rare artifacts and treasures as well. But the difference was he wasn't out there to share them. He wasn't out there for display or research purposes. He just wanted to have them in a private collection at home to make his place much more, pleasant, The Haunted House set that recently released from LEGO is a good example of that, showing the different treasures he's obtained over time, having the showy look to them as a private collection. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. And even if you've never seen this channel before, and you're looking around here, this is all LEGO. Like, 99% of what's on screen right now is all LEGO. And this is a private collection. This is something that I personally own. I've picked up at some point. I did not steal it. I did buy everything that you see here, or was gifted it, or traded for it. And these are all things that I own for a personal use. These are things that I like to learn more about myself, to learn more about the hobby for myself, and to have as my own personal displays, and whatever interest that I have in LEGO and other things surrounding LEGO is definitely to my benefit. So yeah, I do have a Baron von Barron aspect. But, more so than that, I pick up a lot of this stuff because I want to share it online. And not in a showy way, like, I got all this stuff, look at me, I'm fabulous. I'm not. I never try to go in that direction for it. It's fun to see what people have, or pick up at some point. And people have told me on various videos, when I get the obscure LEGO stuff, it's fun to watch because it's something you haven't seen before. Or seeing me step in a whole nother direction, like Ninjago City, Destiny's Bounty, Benny's Spaceship, the Simpsons house. Those are big models, and I usually don't step into that larger direct-to-consumer market that often. But slowly over time, it's starting to become a thing. I've been enjoying those builds just as much as I love the small stuff. like the $10, $12 stuff, the poly bags, anything. I like Lego big and small. And to some degree, you could also say that for the other collections of things that I have, whether it's Nerf, Thomas the Tank, Hot Wheels, dozens of other things that I could get roasted about in the comments. Some of those aren't as developed as their collections, whether it's the completion of them or the variety of them, because Lego kind of sits in the front row. it's the one getting the praise like 99% of the time. It's something that I've grown up with. I still experiment with to this day. I try out different things, and with that, I'm able to learn a lot more for myself, how I can build, what my capabilities are as a creator. Sorry about the buzz there. And what I can also do for other people. Because what do I do with these custom builds? I bring them to shows with me. I make YouTube videos and Instagram posts about them. I share my collection. I share my original builds and creations as well. Even earlier today, when I was recording this video, and it'll probably be posted sometime between today and tomorrow, I shared about my oldest Lego items of any merchandise or whatever, anything Lego produced. And this was inspired by somebody I follow on Instagram as well as on YouTube and Twitter, Brick Bakery, who's also interested to some degree about Lego's legacy, their history. So my oldest items I've picked up within the past 3, almost 4 years now, was a Lego Clod letter block. It's got letters, numbers on it. I have better posts about it on Instagram, and I'll probably throw something on my main channel, like community page, to show them better. But I'm not here to gloat about them. I'm here to say, hey, this is something fascinating. That Lego had these, Lego started out with wooden products. They didn't always start in plastic. They've been around for over 80 years. And with that, had a lot of different wooden objects that they made for kids. They didn't even start out as a children's toy company. They started out with furniture and other carpentry that someone would need in a home. But as times changed, so did their interests. That's just briefly describing the Lego history, but there's a better look at the Clodzer block. This one in particular, having this orientation of letters and numbers. The top is plain, and the bottom is a number 21 with the word Lego on it. I don't have the full set of it. It's one of like 30, almost 40 different block pieces. I did used to have another one, and then it got stolen. Or traded. I forget which. Oh, I don't have it anymore. Anyways. Debatably, either from 1948 or 1998. They had 2 different releases, and there's not a clear way at the moment to tell them apart. And then the other item I have here is a car ferry from between 58 and 60, somewhere between that time. As Lego was integrating into plastic products, they rebranded some of their Lego wooden toys as to Bilofix. You could actually find the same car ferry in an earlier version with Lego printed on the side of it. And it might be more valuable that way, but I still find it fascinating that there was this integration period. That there was a time where they were still debating on making plastic, not only from the new technology of injection molding, but also after some warehouse fires. After 1960, they moved entirely to plastic because they're like, you know what? We're losing a lot of product because it's all wooden. It's going down with everything else. And this has got to be the future. Like in general, plastic was starting to be an industry standard for a lot of products. So why not for toys as well? And that's where they kept going. So this, I don't know if it's entire. It does have a couple metal parts to it. And I may have shown it once or twice before on video, but it's still fascinating. I have no connection personally to a ferry, a car ferry, this particularly, the 60s, the Bilofix name. I was just happy to have something from that era to discover and hold in hand. That's also another important aspect of it. I could look for pictures and catalogs online, no problem, of what's available. Because some of these are a little harder to find around that time. And even to this day, there's a whole bunch of gaps in between information, even for newer stuff. So it's fun when I get to get a hands-on experience with something, even if I don't own it, but getting it to share at a show or something. I've been to shows before where I've brought things along to share with people about Lego history or something obscure, not known to the most public, or other people have brought their own things and been able to give a new experience that otherwise would be hard to find. So that's the other thing that I really like with Lego, is that I can do something about it. Not only sharing about it online, but developing on the fan community. There is a large database on Bricklink about Lego products, old, new, maybe even things from this time period. I know they have the Clod Lego letter set entirely, but I don't know if they broke it down to every letter block. I don't know. Sometimes you can't make all those little tiny cuts. But for some products, there are some things unknown, and I could fill in those gaps when possible. Some things that may be rare or hard to find, not many products made out of it, or destroyed. There are certain products that just people don't care enough to keep them around as a collectible, and therefore they don't, not many people have them out there. That's what makes them rare. Maybe they were originally produced in mass amount, but a lot of them have just been thrown away. Good example of this, a whole bunch of Lego food tie-in promotions. People would love to, and I know people who have some of the boxes for promotional stuff, just because it has a Lego thing that's included with it, or a mail-in kind of thing. Quaker Oats, Kellogg's, Nesquik are, during like the mid-90s to early 2000s, you'll find a ton of stuff like that. There's several boxes of Lego Life cereal in, I think, 2008 or so, where they celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Lego brick, the patent, finally coming to fruition, and they recreate the box in Lego figures. Actually brick building up kids in front of a brick built cereal bowl, having the cereal still be Life cereal. You're not getting a box of bricks with it, but sometimes it includes a little set, and people like that. But as a cereal box, you throw it away. When you're done with the food, who needs the box? Most times these things would fall to the wayside. I was able to find a couple months ago on eBay a Lego waffle box. I don't need the waffles. They would be long past expired. I don't think they would even recognize them as waffles at this point, if they were around. Talking like 12 years later. No, thank you. But the box itself is important because not many of them exist out there. I had like a save search in order to like notify me when it appeared on eBay, and I'm like, yes, I'm looking into this. I'm gonna think it over, and I'll buy it for the purposes of preservation. There's even Lego electronics. Electronics don't last forever. And depending on what's required to adapt the electronics, especially for video games, you only have one source or so. A video game is something that you can't use without the system. And the first Lego game ever, Lego Fun to Build, is on the Sega Pico, an obscure system on its own merit, which I think I may have covered before on a video. But the purpose is, like, I had to get both of them and a working TV in order to use it and experience it. Something that there's not a lot of footage out there. Like I said, a bunch of these things kind of fall in the obscurity because it's just not readily available or not heavily sought after. And the fact that other people, not just myself, I'm not the only one, I'm not the first one. The fact that there are other people out there looking and sourcing and documenting this stuff is very powerful because it builds more about the history of Lego, the continuity of the brand itself. The more people can get invested in old, new, and seeing what comes up next, what can be changed over time. These Hero Factory Recon sets from Design by Me are not listed on Bricklink that much. They just have the bare bones box instructions and maybe stickers. But there are actually some exclusive components to these, usually shown in the box, that I would love to fill in that information. So I think I'm a bit of both, but I mostly lean towards the side of Johnny Thunder for good. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to ask me anything else about Lego, feel free to put in the comments below. and I'll talk to you later. Be excellent to each other.